श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनं सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे पञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पथे गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रिये नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna. So, in last class we have completed chapter 2. Chapter 3 we have completed. Yes, chapter 3 we have completed. I think was the last part. I think hopefully all of you have read the last section of the chapter 3, which we have, which is a repetition of chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 7, particularly the words that we have discussed during our discussion. Chapter 7.16. It is the description of that. All the examples, whatever is there, we have described, we have discussed during that time. Okay. So today we will be discussing devotional service surpasses all liberation. Okay. So this is an important point which we have discussed, that actually pure devotional service, in comparison to pure devotional service, liberation is almost nothing. Okay. So can anyone quote the slok? In which slok that we regularly pray that liberation is not important? Anyone remember? Which sloka is we are regularly reciting? Everyone knows. First of all, as a devotee, are we aspiring for Shalakya Mukti, Samipya Mukti, Sarupya Mukti, all these muktis? Are we aspiring for that or not? What do you think? Hare Krishna. Please respond.
না, ভগবত ভক্ত কোনো মুক্তি মানে কামনা করে না, ভক্তরা কোনো মুক্তি চায় না।
Okay, so how
তারা
you
শুধু
can
ভগবান সেবা করতে চায়।
মাতাজি কিভাবে আপনি এটা শাস্ত্রীয় ভাবে কি করে এটা সাপোর্ট করবেন, প্রতিষ্ঠা করবেন? কোন শ্লোক মনে পড়ছে যেখানে
প্রভুর মঙ্গলাচরণের ওইটা কি নির্বিশেষ শূন্যবাদী পাশ্চাত্যদের সাথে?
কোনটা?
মঙ্গলাচরণ থেকে ওইটা নির্বিশেষ শূন্যবাদী পাশ্চাত্যদের সাথে।
না, ওখানে কোনো আমরা এই যে মুক্তি চাইছি না, এই ব্যাপারটা ওইভাবে আসছে না। মনে পড়ছে না, কারণ আমি বলি না ধনাং ন জনাং ন সুন্দরীং কবিতাং জগদীশ কাময় মম জন্মনি জন্মনীশ্বরে মম জন্মনি জন্মনীশ্বরে ভবতাদ ভক্তিরাহৈতুকিতৈ মম জন্মনি জন্মনীশ্বর। মম জন্মনি জন্মনীশ্বরে মানে কি, আমরা আবার জন্ম নিতে পারি, রেডি আছে। চৈতন্য মহাপ্রভুর এই শ্লোক শিক্ষা সবাই জানে, ঠিক আছে। তো আমাদের এবার বুঝতে হবে যে কেন এটা বলা হচ্ছে। আজকে এইটার উপরে আলোচনা। চৈতন্য মহাপ্রভু এই যে একটা কথা বলে গেছেন, এটার উপরেই পুরো চ্যাপ্টারটা, আর কিছু নেই। যে আমরা এবার তাহলে কেউ বলতে পারেন যে প্রভুপাদ বলেছে ব্যাক টু গডহেড, ব্যাক টু গডহেড, আমাদের স্লোগানই ব্যাক টু গডহেড, ম্যাগাজিনের নাম ব্যাক টু গডহেড। সেটা ভুল না, সেটা ভুল না। তার কারণ এই ভগবানের ভক্তি করার মধ্যে সেটা অটোমেটিক্যালি ইনক্লুডেড। শালক্য মুক্তি মানে ভগবানের ধামে যাওয়া, যাওয়াটা আলাদা আলাদা আমাদের অ্যাসপিরেশন না। ইট ইজ নট দ্যাট উই আর অ্যাসপায়ারিং টু গেট ডেলিভার্ড ফ্রম দিস মেটেরিয়াল ওয়ার্ল্ড। We want to engage in devotional service. Now it is up to Lord whether He wants to take me or not take me. I don't bother about. Okay. I am not bothering about my liberation. My botheration is how I can engage in service. That is how I can get service. My only desire, only prayer is to service. That's it. Devotional service. This is the Shraddha. That pleasing to Krishna favorably is my only goal. Nothing other desire. Okay. Sajajya Mukti is completely rejected. Other muktis are included, but it is not aspire. অন্যান্য মুক্তি, সাজুজ্য মুক্তি আমরা সম্পূর্ণভাবে প্রত্যাখ্যান করি, কিন্তু আর বাকি চারটে মুক্তি আমরা প্রত্যাখ্যান করছি না, কিন্তু আলাদা করে আমরা সেটা নিয়ে চিন্তিত নই। শুরুতে, ভক্তির শুরুতে সাধক ভক্তকে উৎসাহিত করার জন্য ব্যাক টু গডের কথা বলা হয়, যে এমন একটা জায়গা যেখানে জন্ম মৃত্যু নেই, জন্ম মৃত্যু জরা ব্যাধি নেই, যেটা ভগবান বলেছেন আব্রহ্ম ভুবনলোক পুনরাবর্তন অর্জুন মাম পুত্র তুতন্তেয় পুনর্জন্ম নবিত্ত। এই যে জন্ম মৃত্যু থেকে বেরিয়ে যাওয়া, জন্ম কর্ম চ মে দিব্যং এবং তো একটা দেহং পুনর্জন্ম নৈতি মানবী সৌর্য। তো এই যে জিনিসগুলো ভগবান বলেছেন, এটা থেকে বোঝাচ্ছেন, ভগবান উৎসাহিত করছেন যে হ্যাঁ, এই জন্ম মৃত্যু চক্র থেকে বেরিয়ে আসাটা একটা লক্ষ্য, কিন্তু এই লক্ষ্যটা যখন একজন ভক্ত অগ্রগতি করে, when a devotee advance in his devotional service, then this kind of liberation is also not his main object, main aspiration, main ambition. Main ambition is only to engage in devotional service. Is it clear? So today's chapter, there are various references are there. So references you can read, okay? Because as per the syllabus, actually this chapter is almost not there even. Okay, chapter 4 is almost not. It means that there are some guidelines given for the teachers. So in that, chapter 4 is not there. But we will not skip completely. I think there will not be much question on this chapter. But things are already discussed during Moksha Logutatrit part. We have discussed briefly. Here also the same repetition, and there are some evidences. The entire chapter is there evidences from Bhagavatam. Okay. It is Krishna. There are various slokas are there. So where the in comparison to mukti, how bhakti is so glorious. That is the point. And devotee is not worried about his mukti. Devotee is not worried about his mukti is automatically guaranteed. That is the point. So we will read some part of the chapter. Obviously, we will not skip completely, but how the syllabus is designed, is not there in that way. What is happening? Is it visible? Screen is visible, na?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Someone can read first paragraph.
Fortunately.
Yes.
Devotional service surpasses all liberation. How much a devotee is seriously attached to the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be understood from the statement of Maharaj Prithu, who is Adi Raja, which is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 20th chapter, verse 24. He prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, my dear Lord, if after taking liberation I have no chance of hearing the glories of your Lordship, glories chanted by pure devotees from the core of their heart in praise of your lotus feet, and if I have no chance for this honey of the transcendental bliss, then I shall never ask for liberation or this so called spiritual emancipation. I shall simply always pray unto your Lordship that you may give me millions of tongues and millions of ears, so that I can constantly chant and hear of the transcendental glories.
Yes. Thank you. So here there is a one verse which is given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Here also it will be discussed. So that verse is related to this thing. Bhukti mukti spriya javat pishachi didi vartate tavat bhakti sukhastatra katham abhuddhaya bhavet. That means bhukti mukti spriha javat pishachi didi vartate. When the witches of desire for enjoyment, bhukti, and liberation, mukti, are present in the heart, how can the happiness of bhukti arise there? Okay. So the point is, bhukti means too much attachment for sense enjoyment. Oti ashakti, we have discussed. And mukti means oti virakti, too much detachment, liberation. They want liberation from this. So both the things are unfavorable for bhukti or material enjoyment is like a witch because it covers the desire for bhukti with material desire. So when somebody is having bhukti vasana, bhogovancha, then this Shiva Vashana is not there. Someone, I want to bhokta, I want to become bhokta. So how can I accept someone else as a bhokta? Lord has declared in Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Joktata Poshan, Bhoktaram Joktata Poshan, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Shuridam Sarvabhudanam Kattamam Santimukti. But if a person himself is thinking, I am bhokta, then how can he serve another bhokta? He is deriving. That is the reason that we have come into this material world. So that is not possible. Mukti means mukti or liberation or being freed from material anxiety and to become one with God. So basically, here the mukti is in context to Sajajya Mukti, where they want to become one with God. So that kind of mukti will also hamper bhakti. Bhakti means devotional service. So as a devotee, we want to render some service. So if we are having material desire, that is also a that will also block our service propensity. And similarly, if we want to become one with God, that will also completely finish the chance. So that's why we are not interested for bhukti or mukti. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have also heard bhukti mukti siddhi সকলই অশান্ত কৃষ্ণ ভক্ত নিষ্কাম অতএব শান্ত. So this is the conclusion that if we want to become Krishna Bhakta, we have to become sober. Sober means we have to become devoid of bhukti, mukti, and siddhi vasana. All sorts of uh, desire for enjoyment, for liberation, and for attaining mystic power, mystic perfection. We have to come out from this desire. So, devotee do not desire for liberation. Okay. So why? So that is the point. So that is the point. Why bhukti and mukti is a which means পিশাচি। কেন ভক্তি এবং মুক্তিকে পিশাচি বলা হয়েছে? তার কারণ সেটা ভক্তিকে সম্পূর্ণভাবে শেষ করে ভক্তির আনন্দ আমরা পাবো না। Desires for enjoyment and liberation are not proper for the sadhaka devotee, and we are not at all present in the perfected devotee. Even though the devotees do become liberated from samsara, by the power of bhakti, liberation is not at all their goal. So that is the point. Even though devotee do become liberated from samsara, liberation is awarded to them, but they are not after that. As long as one desires mutual enjoyment liberation, one cannot enter into the realm of pure bhakti. So if we have that, we are doing devotional service just to get, see, in preliminary stage, that kind of aspiration is also good. That I want to free from this birth, old age, and disease. Okay, janma mrityu jara vyadhi. But after that can act as an initial impetus to engage, to start our devotional service. But as the day passes, we should also relish, we should get relishment, we should get satisfaction, we should get ananda, blissfulness from just service, from that service. This chanting, what we are doing, chanting, hearing, reading, prayers, offering archanam, all these things should give us a blissfulness, আনন্দ, ভক্তির যে আনন্দ, সেই আনন্দটা যদি আমরা উপলব্ধি করতে পারি, তাহলে আমাদের কাছে তখন এই জন্ম মৃত্যু জরা ব্যাধি থেকে মুক্ত হওয়ার ব্যাপারটা খুব মানে ফিকে হয়ে যাবে। ইট উইল নট বি এন ইম্পর্টেন্ট থিং। যদিও আমরা হয়তো ভক্তি সবাই শুরু করেছি এরকম একটা জিনিস শুনে, যে হ্যাঁ এরকম একটা জায়গায় আমরা যেতে পারবো যেখানে জন্ম মৃত্যু জরা ব্যাধি নেই, দ্যাট ইজ ফাইন, দ্যাট অ্যাসপিরেশন ইনিশিয়ালি ইজ গুড, বাট ফর advancing in Krishna consciousness, we should slowly get out of that aspiration, because that will be automatically our point is this. So this is, so many verses are there. 6th canto 24 is similar of Dhritarashtra, who addresses the Lord as follows. So this you can read. There are various statements, just same thing, there are various statements are there. I'm just searching. So there is a verse, I think, that I'm not getting. I'm getting here is one more. So their minds and senses are captivated by the process of bhakti, such as hearing about Krishna's qualities through the influence of prema. So that is the quotation that Rupa Goswami has given a reference. Yeah, there are many other quotations. So they are so much overwhelmed with the emotion that they are getting from serving Krishna, that for them liberation is nothing. Okay, so I will not go much into it. So absorption. So Bilamangal Thakur has prayed that by bhakti unto you I perceive your presence everywhere. And liberation stands at my door with folded hands, waiting to serve me. So up to this, when a liberation is like a liberation, Mukti Devi is waiting to serve him at the door. But I am not interested to give him any importance. So like that. absorbed in the bliss of service to the lotus feet of Krishna is so much that their aspiration for liberation falls behind. So you can read there are so many types of liberations are this is one verse that Kopila is saying Shalokko Shashti Shamippo Shajujjo Sharuppo Oikantikammapo Uto Diomanam Omno Krinanti Vinamat Shevanam Janam. That means a pure devotee does not accept any of the five types of liberation, even if the Lord personally offers them, if they are not accompanied by service to the Lord. So that is the point that they are not interested to get any liberation, aspiration for liberation is not there. Okay. So why devotees don't aspire for liberation? Because the service to Krishna lotus feet is will be hampered. Perception of Krishna's beauty will be hampered. Taste of Krishna's sweet pastimes will be hampered. Okay. So that's why they don't want to uh, get this the kind of liberation. Okay. Particularly, this liberation is talking about Shajuji liberation. So you can read this chapter, entire chapter. I am not going into detail because according to the syllabus, not much importance is not there in this chapter. You can, but this is important to understand because we, as a devotee, understand that we are not here to aspire for liberation. Okay. Okay. So now chapter. This is about chapter 4, chapter 5. Purity of devotional service. So, in this purity of devotional service, we have to understand that we have to come to the pure stage of devotional service. Okay, pure devotional service. So, no material disqualification for Vaidhi Bhakti. So, first of all, we have to understand that any material condition is not a disqualification for rendering into Vaidhi Bhakti or coming into the discharging pure devotional service. It is so pure, it is so glorious, so uh, sublime, this devotional service. Okay. So, we will read this. So, someone can read this. Mataji's, Prabhuji's.
The purity of devotional service.
Yes.
All of the previous instructions imparted by Srila Rupa Goswami in his broad statements can be summarized thus: as long as one is materially inclined or desirous of merging into the spiritual effulgence, one cannot enter into the realm of pure devotional service. Next, Rupa Goswami states that the devotional service is transcendental to all material considerations, and that it is not limited to any particular country, class, society, or circumstance. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service is transcendental and has no cause. Devotional service is executed without any hope for gain, and it cannot be checked by any material circumstances. It is open for all without any distinction, and it is the constitutional occupation of the living entities. In the Middle Ages, after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya's great associate Lord Nityananda, a class of priestly persons claimed to be the descendants of Nityananda, calling themselves the Goswami caste. They further claimed that the practice and spreading of devotional service belonged only to their particular class, which was known as Saraswat, which was known as Nityananda Vangsha. In this way, they exercised their artificial power for some time until Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the powerful Acharya of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, completely smashed their idea. There was a great hard struggle for some time. but it has turned out successfully, and it is now correctly and practically established that devotional service is not restricted to a particular class of men. Besides that, anyone who is engaged in devotional service is already at the status of being a high class Brahmana. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's struggle for this movement has come out successful.
Thank you. So this is actually very important aspect that we need to understand the mood, mood and mission. Here actually, the mood and mission of entire ISKCON movement is explained because during Srila Prabhupada's time, uh, there were many objections were raised when Srila Prabhupada was initiating foreigners. Okay. But Srila Prabhupada again and again quoted from Shastra, from Bhagavatam, that this kind of criticism is completely unjustified. Okay. Because for bhakti, there is no qualification is required. Bhakti is can anyone can render bhakti. Actually, there is a sloka from Padma Purana where it is quoted: "Sarve odhikarino hi atra hari bhakto." Sarve odhikarino. Everyone is qualified. Everyone. Kirada, Hunanda, Pulinda, Pulaska, Javana, Kasada. Everyone. Mlecho, Javana, Mongolia. Everyone is, and by the Master Srila Prabhupada, this has been proved that how the entire world is taking up Krishna consciousness. So we need to understand that there is no material qualification. So, and there is no cause actually. There is actually no cause. It is ahituk. So the mercy that we have got, it is not that we are qualified to take that mercy. The Shukriti that we have got, that was also not that we are qualified to become Shukriti one. Yes, in earlier chapter the eligibility has been described. What is the main point of eligibility? The contact with pure devotee. That's it. And for that contact, what is the cause? There is no cause. A person is eligible to take bhakti means by his association, by the devotee's association. That's it. And how he is getting devotee's association is from previous Shukriti and other things. But that how come that Shukriti has come? That is no cause. So it is completely by the mercy of devotees that we are into this realm of bhakti. So anyone is eligible. So we cannot discriminate actually. So our initiation is also like that. Initiation, even up to sannyas initiation. Sannyas initiation is also like that. The foreigners are given sannyas initiation, and they are discharging wonderful service. Okay. So the the inclusion of Westerners into our society is a very important aspect to understand our mood and mission. So this is the most important uh, understanding of this lesson. So from this particular paragraph only we can understand, and the entire other paragraphs are elaboration of the same thing. Okay, we can read some portion, not all the portion. We will be able to, due to the lack of time, we will not able to complete all the portions, but whatever portion we are able to complete, we will always read. So, and this will be, there will be question from here, obviously. Open book, closed book, all the questions will be, there will be many questions, important questions will be there from here. So, someone can read from this paragraph. It is on the basis of his position that anyone can now become a Gaudiya Vaishnava. Yes. So here,
It is on.
full credit to Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Actually, the credit should be given to Srila Prabhupada actually, because by the instruction of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada has taken it the entire Gauriya Vaishnavism to the global stage. So, but Prabhupada, by his humility, he is giving all the credit to his Gurudev. This is the culture. Okay, please continue, Mataji. Sorry.
It is on the basis of his position that anyone can now become a Gauriya Vaishnava from any part of the world or any part of the universe. Anyone who is a pure Vaishnava is situated transcendentally and therefore the highest qualification in the material world, namely to be in the mode of goodness, has already been achieved by such a person. Our Krishna consciousness movement in the Western world is based on the above-mentioned proposition of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, our spiritual master. On his authority, we are claiming members from all sections of the Western countries. The so-called Brahmanas claim that one who is not born into a Brahmana family cannot receive the sacred thread and cannot become a high-grade Vaishnava. But we do not accept such a theory because it is not supported by Rupa Goswami nor by the strength of the various scriptures.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So, in this connection, I remember one very nice pastime that uh, once Srila Prabhupada, when in Vrindavan, he was here, he was there, and many of his Western devotees has come, their disciples has come. So they have gone visiting various temples of Vrindavan, and in that temple, when they visited, the pujari was there, and the pujari said that very good, you have come, you have become Vaishnava. So by performing your devotional service, next birth you will become a pujari like me. So the devotees, innocent Prabhupada disciples, they heard it and they came back to Prabhupada and they said that the pujari has given us a very nice blessing that now we are rendering devotional service. Ah, I have become Vaishnava, and now after service throughout the day, throughout the life, at the end of the life, we will become a pujari like in the Vrindavan temple in India. So then Prabhupada said that you go and tell this particular pujari that by associating with with associating with us and by reading our Prabhupada books, you will become pious and you will become American in next birth and you will distribute book throughout the world. So Prabhupada has reversed it because book distribution is so important. So, and book distribution is the main preaching thing that they are actually preaching. The pujari service is good, but propagation of Krishna consciousness movement is further important. Okay. So then they were very happy and jubilant like that. So that is the point. Actually, we think and that was the logic that only সিংহের 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 থেকে সিংহ তৈরি হতে পারে সিংহ থেকে সিংহ তৈরি হতে পারে they give the logic like this, but this kind of genealogical conclusion cannot be imposed on Vaishnavism on particularly in devotional service because there is no cause. Okay. So here they are telling why that they are counteracting that cause that to become a devotee, to become a Vaishnava, you have to be taken birth in a Vaishnava family. So that is not the conclusion. Okay. So yes. So we can read next paragraph. Sri Rupa Goswami specifically mentioned herein.
Srila Rup Goswami specifically mentions herein that every man has the birthright to accept devotional service and to become Krishna conscious. He has given many evidences from many scriptures and he has especially quoted one passage from Padma Purana wherein the sage Vasishtha tells King Dilipa, my dear king, everyone has the right to execute devotional service just as he has the right to take early bath in the month of Magh, December to January. Therefore, There is more evidence in the Skanda Purana in the Kashi Khanda portion where it is said, in the country known as Mayurdhwaja, the lower caste people who are considered less than Shudras are also initiated in the Vaishnava cult of devotional service. And when they are properly dressed with tilaka on their bodies and beads in their hands and on their necks, they appear to be coming from Vaikuntha. In fact, they look so very beautiful that immediately they surpass the ordinary Brahmanas. Thus, a Vaishnava automatically becomes a Brahmana.
So this is the point that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has instructed. Kiba Vipro Kiba Nashi Shudra Kane Nai Jai Krishna Tattva Vedta Shai Guru. So even the spiritual master, uh, for becoming a spiritual master also there is no consideration of caste, creed and background. If he is conversant, mature in the science of Krishna consciousness, he can become Krishna Bhakta, he can become a guru. So and he can initiate also. And in initiation also there is no consideration of caste. So the consideration of caste is not there. Consideration of the varna is not there. There is no the caste is in one sense the varna only. The birth is not there. Nothing is there. Yes. Next from some Prabhuji. Thus Vaishnava automatically become a Brahman. Regarding this Brahmana particularly, actually there is a very nice essay written by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and I think if you have seen Abhay Charan serial, there is one episode where actually Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur was supposed to go in Midnapur district to attend a debate between Brahmana and Vaishnava, but he could not go. He could not go because of his health issue. So he sent this to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. At that time, he was Vimala Prasad. He was a very young person. He has gone and he was glorified Brahmanas like anything. And then he started glorifying Vaishnava and take the Vaishnava beyond Brahmana. So he has presented so wonderfully that everyone accepted. And he defeated that how Vaishnava are greater than Brahmana, because Vaishnavas are automatically Brahmana. Okay. So this is another thing, that a Brahmana, the caste Brahman can become Vaishnava. So many Jat Goshai, this kind of concept, particularly in Vrindavan and Bengal, this is there. Unfortunately, still not. So while we go to for preaching in Bengal, oh, I am belong from this family, I got initiation from that family, I am from belong to that family. So it is very difficult for them to take Krishna consciousness in a proper way. Yes. Maybe Prabhuji can please read. Thus the Vaishnava automatically becomes a Brahman.
Yes, Prabhu. Thus a Vaishnava automatically becomes a Brahmana. This idea is also supported by Sanatan Goswami in his book Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is the Vaishnava guide. Therein, he has clearly stated that any person who is properly initiated into the Vaishnava cult certainly becomes a Brahmana, as much as the metal known as Kamsa, bell metal, is turned is turned into gold by the mixture of mercury. A bona fide spiritual master under the guidance of authorities can turn anyone into the Vaishnava cult, so that naturally he may come to the topmost position of a Brahman.
Yes. So this is the one thing that he is giving a very grossly material example, but very effective example, that how we make the alloy. Okay, the metal known as kasha is turned into gold by the mixture of mercury. The bell metal and mercury, if we mix, it becomes gold. So Sanatana Goswami actually knows. You know the story of Parashpathar. Sanatana Goswami was having Parashpathar, and Shivji has sent one of his bhakta to take Parashpathar from him. You know that story, everyone, I think.
Yes, Prabhu.
So I'm not repeating that. So he was very expert metallurgist also, Sanatana Goswami. Okay. So he is giving this example. This example is there in your analogy part. And this example we should remember that if we follow a bona fide spiritual master instructions properly, we can also become gold. Means we can overcome all our material inebrities. We can overcome all our disqualification and become a pure devotee. Okay. So what we may have any kind of sinful background, but after taking initiation, if we steadily follow, then we will be delivered. We will be saved. We will become pure devotee. We will develop that spontaneous uh, love for Krishna. It is guaranteed. So that is the point. Next, from Mataji's side. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami warns, however, that if a person is properly initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, he should not think that simply by the acceptance of such initiation his business is then finished. One still has to follow the rules and regulations very carefully. It after accepting the spiritual master and being initiated, one does not follow the rules and regulations of devotional service. Then he is again fallen. One must be very vigilant to remember that he is a part and parcel of the transcendental body of Krishna, and that is his duty as part and parcel to give service to the whole of Krishna. If we do not render service to Krishna, then again we fall down. In other words, simply becoming initiated does not elevate one to the position of a high class Brahmana. One also has to discharge the duties and follow the regulative principles very rigidly.
Yes. So this is very important. That initiation is a one-day ceremony. Okay. Initiation is a one-day ceremony, but because that is the starting day, and there is no end of it. Actually, end of it means it is end means when we become a pure Krishna Bhakta. Okay. That is the end. That is the success of that initiation. Okay. And so for that, we need to follow every day all the rules and regulation as vigilantly, as practically as possible, as strictly as possible. Okay. So only that program of initiation, because we know in our culture we have seen in India particularly that the caste brahmanas, they also help, they also have their program of upavit anushthan is there, upavit program, brahman poite অনুষ্ঠান যেরকম হয়, so that is there, but that is only that is only a anushthanic thing, only a ritualistic thing. With that, after that, on in that program only in Bengal, you all know of the the food and everything, what type of food they started eating. So that kind of things will not help. Only the point is, only the initiation program is not the qualification to become Brahman. Okay, we have to follow the rules and regulation to become Brahman. So next paragraph is also important. So this is the fault that if we don't follow, then we will not become Krishna. So initiation, the importance of initiation. So this is the part that to become a pure devotee, we must have initiation. Okay. Must have means most of the cases. There is very exceptional cases when spiritual master may not give that proper initiation in a formal way, but the blessing is there. With that also it can be delivered. Like delivered means there will be a spiritual connection with the spiritual master, that is there. But in ordinary case, normal case, initiation is very important, and we should, and we have seen many a times. I know many devotees when that particular devotee is, suppose he was aspiring to take initiation, but due to some reason, because there are many formalities in particular in ISKCON now, we have to complete that. So he was not able to complete, but and he was almost leaving his body. So at that stage also, many cases, initiating spiritual masters gives initiation at the almost at the deathbed and send him to spiritual world. Many cases are there in ISKCON. So we cannot undermine in any case the importance of initiation and following the initiating vows properly. Yes, next paragraph from Prabhuji's side. The Rupa Goswami also says that
Srila, Srila Rupa Goswami also says that if one is regularly discharging devotional service, there will be no question of a fall down. But even if circumstantially there is some fall down, the Vaishnava need have nothing to do with the prayaschitta, the ritualistic ceremony for purification. If someone falls down from the principles of devotional service, he need not take to the prayaschitta performances for reformation. He simply has to execute the rules and regulations for discharging devotional service, and this is sufficient for the reinstatement. This is the mystery of the Vaishnava devotional cult.
yes, this is very important. So this is here also the prayaschitta part is mentioned. So this there is a ritualistic process of purification, and it is also there, but that is only temporary thing. So we discussed regarding this prayaschitta part that there are various processes, Jyogodana Tapa are there, and which can nullify the sinful reaction. Okay, but that is a temporary nullification, not a permanent solution. Okay, so and for in case of a particular devotee who has become devotee, if there is an accidental fall down, okay, Opi cheto shuduracharo bhajavate mam manannavak sadhurevo samantubhyo sammok bhavashita. Sadhu, even there is a from Krishna's perspective, if someone has committed some opicheto shuduracha, some abominable, but that should be accidental. Prabhupada writes in this purport, uh, following the instruction of Sri Rupa Goswami, following the instruction of Bhakti Thakur's interpretation, Prabhupada just copied Bhakti Thakur's interpretation in Bhagavad Gita in that particular sloka. Even though there is a fall down. This kind of fall down should be accidental fall down, not a habitual fall down. Okay. Accidental fall down due to the influence of Maya, Mama Maya Durattaya. So it will be excused if he continue. And Krishna is telling that you should consider him as a sadhu. This is very important to understand. In our society also sometimes there is accidental fall down, but we should not derive or conclude that he is good for nothing. Sometimes devotee, when someone is, so we hear someone, oh, this devotee has done this kind of thing. Oh, when we started discussing, we started gossiping, we started criticizing, we started back, not in front of him, but when in his absence, sometimes we discuss. But that is not a proper thing, because if he start repenting for that, and if he start following rules and regulations properly, that repentance and his adherence to following rules and regulations will make him another devotee. Will again help him to reinstatement of this path, and we will be in trouble, and we will be committing Vaishnava Aparadha if we start discussing. So any devotee, whatever the problem is there, we should not criticize, because this kind of accidental fall down is not a problem. It can happen. So it's very important to understand how we deal with the devotee. Yes, that does not mean that someone Prabhupada writes in that purport that one time, two time, three times is forgiven, but not after that. So that means if someone is again and again committing the same kind of durachar, uh, so that will not be considered as a habit, accidental fall down, accidental commitment of sinful activity. It will be considered as a habitual. So that means he is casual, he is careless. So that will be so that for that some steps has to be taken. So in our society also, there are authorities, there are committees, governing body commissions are there, GBCs are there, senior devotees are there. They are there to correct the devotees, but we should not take of our own, and we should not keep anything in our mind. Our mind should be only for Krishna, for thinking about Krishna's lotus feet. So we should not think about all that things until and unless we are given that responsibility to correct some devotees. Here also it is not a, rejecting any devotees, correcting a devotees. So it is so only senior devotees who are mature they can do it, because this is very delicate matter. It is not a, dealing with devotees. We should not take casual any devotee, because in Bhagavad Gita 7.18, Bhagavan Lord says that all the Shakam Bhaktas, even those Bhaktas who are having uh, Artha Arthatri Jiggasha, they are also my very dear devotee. So what to speak of someone is having without any material desire, pure devotee. So for them, if they commit, so this is talking about, we need to understand the devotees who are practicing pure Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti states. These are the rules and regulations. You have to take initiation, you have to follow this thing, that thing. So all these things are explained. So for them, this discussion is happening. So a person who is practicing pure devotional service, okay, if he commit accidentally some mistake, so should not be taken seriously. He should again not do anything. If he can again start following this. I think somewhere the example will be there that uh, Prabhu Goswami has given the example that a child when he starts walking, when he tries to walking, start his endeavor for walking, from crawling to walking, he sometimes falls down. Okay. But what he should do, what we have done all, we have again wake up and start walking and tried our walk. We have endeavored to walk, and then we one day walk. So that is the point. We may fall down accidentally, but we should not be so much worried or do anything else. We have to again endeavor to practice the rules and regulation once again. Yes. Next. Practically, there are three processes of elevating one to the platform of spiritual consciousness.
Practically, Practically, there are three processes for elevating one to the platform of spiritual consciousness. These processes are called karma, jnana, and bhakti. Ritualistic performances are in the field of karma. Speculative processes are in the field of jnana. One who has taken to bhakti, the devotional service of the Lord, need have nothing to do with karma or jnana. It has been already explained that pure devotional service is without any sting of karma and jnana. Bhakti should have no sting of philosophical speculations or ritualistic performances.
Yes. Thank you. So this already we have discussed. Janma karma adi anabhritam. So we should not reject karma and jnana, but karma and jnana should not cover our bhakti. Okay. So here jnana means mental speculation. The process of mental speculation is referred, and karma means mainly ritualistic karma, fruitive karma. So, but there are bhakti karma, there is bhakti jnana. We are going through bhakti shastri. This is also knowledge. Okay, Prabhupada has given the wisdom of bhakti. So, and we are doing so many karma, that is akarma in the platform of akarma actually. But those type of Krishna karma should not be rejected. Yes. Next, from Prabhuji's side. Hare Krishna.
In this connection, Srila Rupa Goswami gives evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11 Canto, 21st chapter, verse 2, in which Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, the distinction between qualification and disqualification may be made in this way. Persons who are already elevated in discharging devotional service will never again take shelter of the process of fruitive activity or physical speculation. If one sticks to devotional service and is conducted, conducted by regulative principles given by the authorities and acharyas, that is the best qualification.
Yes. So the best qualification is that we will remain qualified to discharge devotional service if we are following the instruction of spiritual master. So that is our only qualification, that is our only hope to follow. So this instruction we receive from our spiritual master is like a safety belt, is a safety, what do you call, what do we say that someone when uh, someone is fallen into the ocean, he is given that safety. What is that called in English? For, forgetting that safety belt or safety rubber. Some I just forget.
Life saving jacket.
Huh? Life
Life
saving
saving
jacket. Yes, life
Safety
saving
net.
jacket. Huh?
Safety net.
Safety net
Safety.
or something. Anyway, you understand that what I mean. So we should consider these instructions are like that. We are we are suffering in this ocean of material existence since time immemorial. Now we have got by some fortunate, we don't know, inconceivable fortune has come upon us. Huh? Sometimes we say na lottery lag gaya. Yeah, when we get some big fortune, some uh, that unimaginable fortune has come upon us by our contact. So, and someone has we were suffocating actually. Just see someone has some sheep or something has fallen into the ocean and all the persons are suffocating and someone at that time throws this safety jacket, safety net, whatever you are telling, and the particularly in the many oceans are like freezing cold water. Okay. Just like how what has happened during the Titanic. Just to think at that time. So when someone is give some when that instruction is coming to us, what we should do? Point is we can understand our helpless situation in this matter like this. So that's why we take it very casual. So we should take this is our best qualification. This is the only qualification to keep on hold on these instructions and discharge devotional service as given by our authority. That's it. We need not to worry about anything. Okay. Next paragraph. Mataji.
This statement is supported in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, fifth chapter, verse 17, wherein Sri Narada Muni advises Vasudev thus: everyone, if one does not execute his specific occupational duty, but immediately takes direct shelter of the lotus feet of Hari, Krishna, there will be no fault on his part, and in all circumstances his position is secure. Even if, by some bad association, he falls down while executing devotional service, or if he does not finish the complete course of devotional service and dies untimely, still he is not at a loss. A person who is simply discharging his occupational duty in Varna and Asrama, however, with no Krishna consciousness, practically does not gain the true benefit of human life. The purport is that all conditioned souls who are engaged very frantically in activities for sense gratification without knowing that this process will never help them get out of the material contamination are awarded only with repeated births and deaths.
Yes. So this is the important thing that ideally we should steadily execute our devotional service. We should not deviate from it. We should not fall down, fall back from this practice. But in case there is some here and there fall down, some get after practicing some time, he leaves the practice, he left. Many cases has happened like that. Many devotees has come and left. But there is no loss actually. What is the loss? If someone has come for some time and rendered some service, that is his eternal asset. There is no loss. Okay. So we should not be discouraged. Okay. Prabhupada says, don't be discouraged by how many people have left this ISKCON movement. Don't be discouraged. Be surprised that how many people are stick to it. Because in this age of Kali, someone is sticking to bhakti, practicing bhakti. This is the most astonishing thing. Because the Maya's influence is so strong, uh, that and we are so disqualified. We are having no taste for practicing any sorts of spirituality. So for them, someone is practicing, whoever is there, is is wonderful. And in particularly by the Master Srila Prabhupada and his wonderful followers and all the devotees, our ISKCON society is growing like anything. Okay, every day. The this is the mercy of all the previous acharyas, Srila Prabhupada and the followers. Wonderfully, the mission, the society is expanding like anything. So, but there is no loss. So, point is there will be deviation, some steady. Ideally, there should be steadily one should follow, but even though there is some there and there, we should not be discouraged. That is the point. Okay. And because on the other hand, if someone is just following his varnashram duties, what he gains at the end of the day? Okay. So, in comparison to one practicing so-called varnashram dharma without the touch of bhakti, okay, and another is for some time and he's successful, but what he has gained? What is the gain? No gain. But someone has practiced for some time bhakti, that is his eternal asset. Yes, next paragraph. The fifth canto.
In the fifth canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated by Rasabhadeva to his sons, persons engaged in fruitive activities are repeatedly accepting birth and death, and until they develop a loving feeling of Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out from these stringent laws of material nature. As such, any person who is very seriously engaged in his occupational duties in the Varnas and Ashramas and who does not develop love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva should be understood to be simply spoiling his human form of life.
Yes,
This is
thank you. So that is the point. The full shelter. Okay. Here actually Krishna is telling that. So there is sometimes why this kind of verses Rupa Goswami is mentioning here to make it a point that uh, that there will be uh, tug of war between the distractions will be there. Okay, but we need not to worry about it. We should try to follow the path given. So that's why the person engaged in fruitive activities are repeatedly accepting birth and death. So that is the point of here also. Varnashram dharma is like that. Fruitive activity is included in this Varnashram dharma. Until they develop a loving feeling for Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out of this stringent law. They will get human birth, maybe, for their pious activities. But so that is the point here, in particularly in Indian culture, for cultural background, we are having inclination for pious activity. That is a deviation. We go sometimes practicing some coming to Krishna consciousness, but we cannot get out of those ritualistic performance. We got deviate here and there sometimes. Distraction. This is the distraction actually. We cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness is the highest one. Many of Many pastimes are there. Okay. They cannot accept. Can you remember any pastime from Chaitanya Leela where uh, this pure devotional service, uh, the simplicity of pure devotional service was not acceptable? Anyone can remember? Not remember? Remember that pastimes where Haridas Thakur was.
প্রভু ব্রহ্মবিমোহন লীলা হতে পারে, কারণ প্রভু ভগবান এত সিম্পল যে গোপদের উচ্ছিষ্ট পর্যন্ত,
সেটা তো ব্রহ্ম বিমোহন লীলা ইজ ভেরি,
মানে ওখানে কি উদাহরণটা চলবে না?
এটা অন্যরকম পাস্ট টাইম। ওখানে ব্রহ্মা অ্যাকচুয়ালি ভগবানের এই সিম্পলিসিটি দেখে বুঝতে পারেনি, সেটা ঠিক কথা। কিন্তু আমি বলছি যে একটা উদাহরণ যেটা এখানে বলছে যে যারা আমাদের অনেকের মধ্যে আছে, যেটা আগের শ্লোকে বলছে, আমি শ্লোকটা খুঁজছিলাম পাচ্ছিলাম না। সাধর্মম চরণাম্বুজম হরে ভজন অপক্ষপতে ততো যদি যত্রকা অবধারম অবুদ অমুষ্যকিম কৌবার্থ অপ্ত ভজতাম সাধর্মতঃ। So Tatta Sadharma means someone, if someone has give up occupational duty, that means Sadharma means he is varnashram duty, but take shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Hari. Even if such devotee's practice is incomplete or falls down or deviates or dies untimely, so what misfortune can be there for such a devotee? On the other hand, but one can gain. What can one gain if he simply discharge the varnashram duties without washing Krishna? So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is the pastime, very famous pastime, where Haridas Thakur described that the Namabhas chanting will deliver everyone. And that time there was this Martha Brahman, I think his name was Gopal Chapur or something. So he was not able to accept this kind of thing. Then by Namabhas means offense-less chanting can deliver. So the Smartha Brahman, the normal understanding is that for getting mukti, we have to do so much austerities and penances. And here Haridam is, and here Haridas Thakur is telling, just by offenseless chanting, one can get delivered. What is this? And by chanting pure Krishna, Shuddha Ram, one can become Krishna Prem. So they cannot understand this sublime thing. For this, why this Martha Brahmans, these fruitive activities, the devotees, the persons who are inclined to do fruitive activities, they do many kinds of joggo and this and that, so that they get higher birth, higher delivery. They get delivered from this material world. They do so much austerity, Gyanis and Siddhis. And here, Haridas Thakur is telling that just the second stage of chanting, first stage is offensive chanting, second is offenseless. In second stage of chanting, Namabhas, and Haridas Thakur has given the example that the sun is rising, sun has not risen even. Before the rising of the sun, the darkness of the night is completely eradicated. We all have this experience. So we actually have not come to even Krishna Prem. Forget about it is far away from us. Maybe. It is far. So, but then also the glimpse we are getting, the hope of seeing the sun is there as soon as the darkness is gone. Oh, now it is day, morning, isn't it? So our bhakti should bring this kind of hope at least. Otherwise, there will be here and there variation. Okay. So this is same thing is there. So until unless the main problem happens when they are not developing a feeling, loving feeling for worship. Until that, everything remains ritualistic. So So that we need to develop. So if it is not developing or it is not giving that kind of attraction, we should feel that I have to chant, to I love to chant. Whether this kind of feeling is coming or not. If it is not coming, that means there is some problem, some mistake we might be committing in our practice. Okay. At least we will be reading in the next chapter now onwards. There are various limbs of bhakti, and we should develop some affection. We should have some attraction at least for one limb. We should follow. We should discharge all the necessary limbs has been given by Srila Prabhupada and his followers, our Guru Maharaj. But we should may have, if we have attraction for all the limbs, that is the best. No problem. You do all the things. If you don't have feelings for all the limbs, at least you should have some feelings, some loving feelings at least for one limb, at least for one. That I at least want to do this thing very nicely. So that you should see. So this is the point. Otherwise, there will be deviation. Next point, yes. So this is very important verse actually. This is confirmed. Some Prabhuji can read.
This is confirmed also in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th chapter, verse 32, in which the Lord says to Uddhava, "My dear Uddhava, any person who takes shelter of me in complete surrender and follows my instructions, giving up all occupational duties, is to be considered the first class man." In this statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is understood that people who are generally attracted to philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, political, and social welfare activities may be considered nice men only in the calculation of the material world. From the Srimad Bhagavatam and other authentic Vedic scriptures, we learn further that if a person simply. One second, please.
Someone is getting unmuted and some background sound is coming. So please take care of it. Yes. Yes, Prabhuji, continue.
Yeah. Can you minimize that? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, from Srimad Bhagavatam and other authentic Vedic scriptures, we learn further that if a person simply acts in Krishna consciousness and discharges devotional service, he is considered to be far, far better situated than all of those persons engaged in philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, and social welfare activities.
Yes. So here Krishna is telling that taking full shelter is very important part. Sometimes we are also asked, what are you doing for the society? So Prabhupada said, actually, that this Krishna consciousness is the best philanthropic activity because this is Shubhada. This is Shubhada. And this Srimad Bhagavatam, reading Srimad Bhagavatam can bring revolution in the society. Revolution in the sense, revolution in the positive way. It can revolutionize. When it can bring about the revolution where the people can become completely happy. So this is very important. And now I think in this year, globally, ISKCON has taken set a goal of distributing 108 Srimad Bhagavatam. 108 Srimad Bhagavatam globally. So in everyone, all of you can take a vow to at least distribute 5 Srimad Bhagavatam set, because this will be the best what I can say, best philanthropic activity, best welfare activity, best social activity, best moral activity, and we can reciprocate with Srila Prabhupada in the best possible way. Okay. So you can set your goal. So 5 is not a big number, and before Bhadra Purnima. Bhadra Purnima is 1 week after Radha Ashtami. that is 26th of September. So now it is June. So June, July, August, September. 4 months is there. So every month at least try one Srimad Bhagavatam. So five will be there. Okay, at least one Srimad Bhagavatam you can inspire someone to take Srimad Bhagavatam. I think in our temple also uh, some discount may be there will be coming. So this is very important. Yes. So point is taking shelter of Krishna is more important because ultimately whoever is doing this philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, whatever they are doing exploiting Krishna's resources only. What can they do independently? Can anyone do any welfare to anyone? No one can do any welfare to anyone. But point is most of the cases they don't give any acknowledgement to Krishna. But when by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, by taking Krishna, by taking shelter of Krishna, by taking shelter of the Krishna's devotees, when we connect someone with Krishna, everything is included in that, in the best possible extent. So that's why this see we are not against of philanthropic activities, but so-called philanthropic activities are good, but it's not good enough because it will not save one from this material existence of birth, old age, and disease. Next. Next paragraph.
Thing is still more emphatically confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse 41, in which Kara Bhajana Muni addresses Maharaja Nimi as follows: My dear king, if someone gives up his occupational duties as they are prescribed for the different varnas and ashramas, but takes complete shelter, surrendering himself unto the lotus feet of the Lord, such a person is no more a debtor, nor has he any obligation to perform the different kinds of activities he renders to the great sages, ancestors, living entities, and family and society members, nor has he any need to bother executing the 5 kinds of yajnas or sacrifices or becoming free from simple contamination. Simply by discharging devotional service, he is freed from all kinds of obligations. The purport is that as soon as a man takes his word, he is immediately indebted to so many sources. He is indebted to the great sages because he profits by reading their authoritative scriptures and books. For example, we take advantage of the books written by Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva has left for us all the Vedas. Before Vyasadeva's writing, the Vedic literature was simply heard, and the disciples would learn the mantras quickly by hearing and not by reading. Later on, Vyasadeva thought it wise to write down the Vedas because in this age people are short memoried and unable to remember all the instructions given by the spiritual master. Therefore, he left all the Vedic knowledge in the form of books such as the Puranas, Vedanta, Mahabharata, and Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes. So this is a famous verse, and Srila Prabhupada has quoted many a times. Devo Shibhutapto Nrinam Pitrinam Nakim Karonayam Prinicharajanam Sarvatmaja Sharanam Sharanam Gato Mukundam Purihartuttam. Say devotee who has taken complete shelter. Sharanam Sharanam Sharanam. Okay. The person who has taken complete shelter, who can give complete shelter. Okay, person has taken a shelter from a person who can give complete shelter. So that is Mukundam. So for them there is no obligation. There are 5 kinds of obligation which Srila Prabhupada has explained, but someone has taken complete shelter is need not to worry about to do to repay the debts for other so for this kind of obligation. So devotees are free if they have taken complete shelter of Krishna. But we should not artificially follow because we have not taken shelter. So in some cases we may need to do some obligatory duties. Okay. So like when someone dies in our family, we have to do Shraddha Anushthan. So because we are not in that Paramahamsa stage, like Madhavendra Puri, he he even says that uh, his his Gayatri Sandharati is becoming Sandharati is becoming a Sandharati is blocking his emotion for Krishna. So that is Paramahamsa stage, but we cannot do that. But if we follow, we need not to worry about much about the rituals to follow these obligatory duties. We need not to worry much about that. So that is the point, because the protection from sin is there by Krishna. The next Prabhu Goswami will say that Sarvadharman Parityajya verse also will come somewhere. Yes, here in Bhagavad Gita also the Lord says, this already we have discussed, so we are not going into that. So here Prabhupada is saying there is a one stroke formula. By the one stroke of devotional service, all the obligatory duties are taken care of. Okay. So this is the Pindadan. There are many other sages like Shankaraja, Gautama, Narada, to whom we are indebted because we take advantage of the knowledge. Similarly, we are obliged to our forefathers. So here also the same expression is going on. For the forefathers, we have to offer pindo after they are died. Similarly to the people in general, we are also indebted. So pindadan is there. The pindadan can be done. Devotees sometimes go to Goya and do the pindadan. That is okay. That is not forbidden for devotees, but it is not a must. Okay. Somebody refer. I have heard once. I think Bangu Changri Prabhu or Johnny Vas Prabhu was there in our temple, and he said that Pindodan is not obligatory for devotees. Then he was asked, he was questioned. Then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has gone to Goya, so the point is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit to Goya is not only to give Pindadan. That was just an excuse. Okay, that was just Upalokha. Main Lokha was to meet with his spiritual master, Ishwar. So that is the point we need to understand in that way. So because why we need not to worry about that, but we should as a devotee, as we are performing Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, it is understood that we are very sincerely performing our Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. We are trying to follow all the rules and regulations given by our acharyas, our spiritual masters. So then that's how we can give up all occupations. Sarva dharman purityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tan sarva bhavabhyo mukhyam. So everything will be taken care if we take full shelter. Sharanam sharanam tato mukundam. So that is the point. So then we can be free from all kinds of kartabya. Tato mukundam parihitta kartabya. So we need to understand that it is not a easy thing, but it is easy thing if we follow the rules and regulation nicely. Okay. So the next part is that is additional evidence from Agastya Samhita. The same thing, the importance of following rules and regulations are there. So you can read. Someone can read this part as the regulative principles from Prabhuji's side. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji's.
Yes, Prabhu. There is additional evidence in the Agastya Samhita, as the regulative principles of scripture are not required by a liberated person. So the ritualistic principles indicated in the Vedic supplements are also not required for a person duly engaged in the service of Lord Ramachandra.
Yes.
In other words, the devotees of Lord Ramachandra or Krishna are already liberated persons and are not required to follow all the regulative principles mentioned in the ritualistic portions of the Vedic literature.
Yes. That means Karmakandiyo sections. Devotees need not to follow any Karmakandi sections. Okay, because they are already taken care by Krishna. Okay. Yes. Now this last verse of this chapter, this is very important. Mataji's from Mataji's side.
Similarly, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter, verse 42, Karabhajana Muni addresses King Nimi and says, "My dear king, a person who has given up the worship of the demigods and has completely concentrated his energy in the devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has become very, very dear to the Lord. As such, if by chance or mistake he does something which is forbidden, there is no need for him to perform any purificatory ceremonies. Because the Lord is situated within his heart, he takes compassion for the devotee's accidental mistake and corrects him from within. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita in many places that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna takes a special interest in his devotees and declares emphatically that nothing can cause his devotees to fall down. He is always protecting them.
Yes. Name Bhakta Pranashati. So this verse is very important. See, people fear, out of fear, they do these कर्मकांडी sections. Okay. Because they think that if we don't follow this kind of ritualistic thing, then I will be incurred with sinful reactions. But a devotee who has completely taken Krishna's shelter, he did not to worry because Krishna will take care for that. Shabadamulam bhajato priyasya tattan bhaja bhavasya hari paresha vikarma yaccha patitam kathochi kathanchi bhunnanti sarvam ridishan nivishta. He will clear if there is sometimes commit a sinful accidentally. Same thing. Previously also the accidental fall down has been discussed. Now also I have also discussed from Bhagavad Gita, and there Bhagavad Gita Krishna also tells that opicheto shudurachara bhajadima mananna bhag sadureva samantapya samantapya. And the next verse was this thing that Arjuna, you declare that someone who is engaged in my devotional service, he will be never vanquished. Name Bhakta Pranashya. Through Arjuna he has declared. Because Krishna, through Arjuna declaring means he will protect his devotees' word always. So Prabhupada has told us many times that if you follow four regulative principle and chant 16 quality rounds every day, Prabhupada will take care everything. Prabhupada will take us to spiritual world. So, on the strength of Prabhupada's word, we can understand that many places, simple thing, chanting quality 16 round and dedicatedly following four regulative principles without deviating exactly that, and to understand that how to follow these four regulative principles, what is the standard of four regulative principles should be very, very clear. We should not dilute at least the you can dilute you should not dilute the four regulative principles. Many a times this dilution happens. But we should read what Srila Prabhupada has meant. Because ultimately Prabhupada, on Prabhupada's strength, because he is a pure devotee. His word, what qualification we have to chant Krishna's name? If we think in that way, we don't have any qualification. Actually. It is only strength of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's followers. They have given us some qualification by their association. Otherwise, we don't have any qualification. On their strength, we are somehow rendering some service. So if we violate or we dilute Srila Prabhupada's instructions, then what is the hope? He has given the bare minimum thing. In that also we try to dilute. Okay. So, four regulative principles means no illicit sex. No illicit sex means no illicit sex. No meditating, no gambling, no intoxication, and chanting 16 rounds. And then you do whatever things. So, now, before we close on this context, let me ask you one clear question. and those who will be saying yes should raise their hand. Okay. As a devotee, can we follow astrology?
I think no, Prabhu.
No. So everyone, what is their other? Someone is telling, raise your hand. Those who one says no, they should raise hand. Okay, one, two, three, four hands has been raised. One, two, three, four has not raised. Yes. So those who have not raised hand, what is their view?
প্রভু আজ আমি যেখানে আছি এত নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যু হচ্ছে, আমি ইচ্ছা থাকলেও করতে পারছি না।
Sorry.
বলি, আজ আমার ভীষণ নেটওয়ার্ক ইস্যু চলছে, বারবার কানেকশনটা হচ্ছে, জয়েনিং
Okay,
হচ্ছে,
so
আবার কেটে
আপনি
যাচ্ছে।
শুনতে পাননি আমি কি প্রশ্নটা করেছি?
না প্রভু, প্রশ্নটা আরেকবার বলবেন। হ্যাঁ
ওকে
প্লিজ।
ওকে ওকে। আমি প্রশ্নটা করেছি ভক্তদের ক্ষেত্রে জ্যোতিষশাস্ত্র আহ, নিজেদের জন্য, জ্যোতিষশাস্ত্র নিজেদের ভবিষ্যৎ জানার জন্য, ভবিষ্যতে কি হবে জানার জন্য ব্যবহার করা উচিত, কনসাল্ট করা উচিত কি উচিত না? যদি নো হয় হাত তুলতে হবে, যদি ইয়েস হয় তাহলে হাত নামাতে হবে। So everyone know, yes. But there were many discussion actually. So see, that does not mean, because see, astrology is a Vedic Shastra. So why we as a devotee need not to bother about this astrology? We are not rejecting astrology. We are not rejecting karma kanda. See, we are not rejecting varnashram. Okay, I have said I will share many beautiful quotations to understand, because we should not have misconception also. Otherwise, things will be difficult to understand. Okay. Astrology is one example I am telling. Astrology, why we need not to worry about astrology? Because we are not worry about our future. We have completely surrendered our future to Krishna's hand. So what is the point in following this? Okay. You have any other? Yes, actually, I should have asked. I just given the answer. Why we should not worry about that? So, anyone, what do you think that why we should not follow astrology?
Because Prabhu, whatever we are doing as a devotee, we think whatever we are doing, or what are the things happening in our life, it's only Krishna's wish or Krishna's mercy. So that's why we don't need to accept all jyotish and as per astrology, whatever. Just only we believe in karma. We have to do Krishna seva, Krishna bhakti. That's all.
Yes. So, mm, yes. So there is a quotation. The followers of Lord Chaitanya followed this process where they performed varnashramic duties. Okay. Along with their practice of pure bhakti. But they did not have material motives in practicing those particular actions. Is that clear? So, in Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, we have said, Prabhupada there is the ministry called Devi Varnashram Dharma. Devi Varnashram ministry is there in ISKCON. And here we are telling, there is no obligatory duties as a Varnashram. What is this? This means that till there is a conversation between Srila Prabhupada and His Holiness Bhakti Charuswami Maharaj. Have you read that Ocean of Mercy by Bhakti Charuswami Maharaj? Anyone read? I have also not read fully, but I have heard some part of it. A very interesting conversation. And the last part of His Holiness Bhakti Charuswami Maharaj is related to this only. So, the gist, I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not exactly remembering the exactly what but the point was, Bhakti Swami Maharaj was asking that, I said, Prabhupada, you have done so much. You can lower your hand, you understand. So, if you don't have any other further question. The point is that Prabhupada has been asked by Bhakti Swami Maharaj in Mayapur that, Prabhupada, you have done so much for the entire world, for our society, for you have done so much. And then Prabhupada said, I have done only 50% of what I wanted to do. 50%? Jose Shah Maharaj was astonished. 50%? Why 50%? Then Prabhupada said, actually I wanted to establish Daivi Varnashram Dharma throughout the world. That is incomplete. I am not able to do it. Till now, whatever I have done, that is only 50% of it. Okay. So this is there in our 7 objective of ISKCON. So then, Bhakti Swami Maharaj asked a very interesting question. Then said that, is chanting 16 rounds is not sufficient? Then Prabhupada said, how many devotees are chanting 16 rounds properly? So that is the point. So if someone is chanting 16 rounds properly, for them, Varnashram, following Varnashram Dharma may not be so important. There is a similar kind of conversation with Harishwari Prabhu also. Because in Chaitanya Charitamrita, while discussing with Ramananda Rai, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, when Ramananda Rai has said that regarding this Varnashram Dharma, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Iho Bajjo Age Kaho. So from that, devotees understood that it is external, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is rejecting. Then Prabhupada says that why then he has taken sannyas? Sannyas means it's a part of Varnashram Dharma. Why we are giving sannyas? We are giving brahmachari, we are sannyas ashram, brahmachari ashram, banprastha ashram, so many things are there. Grihastha ashram is there. Why it is there? Because we are not at Paramahansa stage. We are not come to that stage. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also this quotation. So we should not have a misconception about this rejection of Varnashram Dharma completely. Because the Varnashram Dharma is not the main objective of ISKCON, but this Varnashram Dharma is a supporting frame infrastructure to help us progress in Krishna consciousness. Once we fixed in our chanting 16 round and following fundamental principles, then there is no problem. There is no obligation of Varnashram Dharma. But other than that, till then that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that till there is kama in our heart, we should follow Varnashram. Now, if anyone is confident that I don't have any tinge of kama in my heart, okay. So that is the standard. So this thing which you have to understand is rules and regulations. Whatever is given, this is not very easy to follow. So Varnashram Dharma gives a support. See what is happening now, we are going in our workplace, we are going here and there. It is very much polluted, contaminated. So our consciousness is getting affected. And with that thing, next day we are sitting for chanting. So it is a challenge. I don't know how far you have experienced. I personally experienced it as a challenge. Actually. Not very easy thing. So association with devotees, hearing, chanting, uh, we should develop this culture. Otherwise, in the mind, those things will, those impressions will crisscross when we sit for chanting. I don't know how you experience, but it is a fact. During 16 rounds, how many rounds we are hearing properly? So following, so Prabhupada one desire was that. That's why this Devi Varnashram Dharma system is there. Prabhupada wanted. One thing is someone is engaged in preaching activity, that is fine. He can stay. But that is when someone can preach, when someone is very much fixed in his chanting, quality rounds, at least offenseless chanting, and going towards Shuddhanam. So that is the way we should understand that this is a very important aspect. But the point is, whatever we are doing, we should satisfy Krishna. Here in last class also we have discussed that does not mean that we have to reject and we have to change everything. Point is we need to be very careful. Sometimes what happens, devotees become very careless. That oh, I am already following the principle, already following this chanting system now, nothing can happen with me. But no, we should not be so careless because we are staying in Kali Yuga and we are not in the proper Varnashram institution. Is not established till now. Prabhupada mission hasn't been fulfilled, and that's why, if you remember, when Prabhupada, when Bhakti Swami Maharaj heard this thing, Bhakti Swami Maharaj has taken it very seriously, and he, during Corona period, he had gone to Ohio in USA, where he was developing a Varnashram village. He risked his life for fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's 50% mission. He has preached throughout his life in city and many places, mostly in city and towns. Okay. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is not only for this, that village should be delivered. পৃথিবীতে আছে যত নগর আদি গ্রাম, নগর গ্রাম, everything is included. But we should understand that we should have respect at least. That yes, Grihastha ashram, I am Grihastha. I am Sannyas, I am someone is Brahmachari. So Sannyas ashram, we should have that respect. Even though our all the activities are not quote unquote fitting into the Varnashram institution, Varnashram infrastructure, so we should be very careful that to purify our karma, what are we doing? So that should be our concept. We should not be in a don't care mentality. That oh, I have now become devotee. So that don't care can be a stage of Paramahansa stage. Our stage is not. My point is that don't. I don't know how far I am clarifying the point because in this entire chapter the Vedic ritualistic activities were discarded. But we should understand the mood of how in what mood that they have given this thing. Because this is the point of pure devotional service. Okay. So on the strength, because pure devotional service is completely independent. It does not depend on anything. So, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followers follow this thing with a different intention. So I will share some quotation. The rules of Varnashram help you control your senses and control your mind. They help with the purity of body and purity of mind. They help create an occupation which is not disturbing. So in this way, the rules of Varnashram system act as an assistant to bhakti. They provide a favorable body and a favorable setting in society for developing the bhakti. So we cannot avoid supporting our material body. So we can manufacture our own rules. So we can manufacture our own rules that may or may not work. Or we can follow those rules of the Varnashram system which are there in the scriptures. So the point is that these rules and regulations, what is there, it should help us uncover our bhakti. So if the situation what we are, it is favorably, perfectly helping me to progress in devotional service, all right. But we should be very careful because we are in a concocted, manufactured system we are working. So we should be very careful and we should act judiciously and we should not think that we are completely beyond this thing. The our acharyas want you should not be on the other hand, you should not be too attached to those rules of Varnashram Dharma. We may become attached to the rules because of the rules, not because of the goal. So if they become an obstacle to bhakti, then we have to be detached from them. So therefore, the rules are practiced, but with some direction, discretion, and without attachment. This is how the devotees conduct themselves. So there are this I will share. This is very nice quotations. I have collected some quotations from Bhanushai Maharaj. Uh, so we should not have a misconception about all this ritualistic framework of Vedic society. On the same time, we should understand that devotional service, what we are performing, it is very sublime, far beyond any ritualistic obligations. So now my one question is that when should a devotee, this actually I am not able to getting time to make this quiz and sending to you. I was thinking to send some quiz. Okay. Okay, one thing we can try to answer. I am telling a statement. You need to say whether it's true or false. Okay, if someone is telling true, they will raise their hand. Okay, if someone is telling false, they will need not to raise their hand. It is said that you must reach Sattaguna to practice bhakti. Have you heard me clearly? It is said that you must first reach Sattaguna to practice bhakti. If it is true, raise your hand. If it is false, no need to raise your hand. Okay, Shivani Maharaj, please explain.
Prabhuji Sadhana. Prabhuji, to practice bhakti, even for chanting, we need to have a proper mind setup because if we are too much in Rajasic or Tamasic, then that chanting will have no effect and it's just हमारा सिर्फ लिफ्ट बड़बड़ाएगा और दिमाग में कुछ और चल रहा होगा. And then second, if someone is in tamasic or rajasic, he will have food which is not offered to the Lord, like onion, garlic, non-vegetarian food. And bhakti demands pure sattvic environment, pure sattvic food, which is offered to the Lord. And then for offering devotion to Krishna, we need to have a proper mood. If we are too much, and even into our society also, when we used to have non-veg, then at that time we didn't go to, हम लोग भगवान को पूजा ऑफर नहीं करते थे. हम लोग बोलते थे कि हमने मतलब नॉनवेज खाया है तो आज भगवान का पूजा नहीं कर सकते, नहीं छुएंगे भगवान को. एंड इन द सेम वे व्हेन वी यूज्ड टू हैव ऑनियन गार्लिक, वो एक जो एक राजसिक मेंटालिटी है वो काफी ओवर पावर कर देता है सोल को. एंड एट दैट टाइम वो जस्ट एक रिचुअलिस्टिक मेंटालिटी बन जाता है पूजा के टाइम में. हाँ, धूप दिखाना है, कुछ करना है, बट एक्चुअली इन अ प्रॉपर सतोगुणा एक प्रॉपर माइंड सेटअप होता है. और एक लाइक श्रीला प्रभुपाद हैज सेड इन भगवान बोलते हैं कि द फूड विच इज ऑफर्ड टू मी इज कार्मिक फ्री, और जो मुझे भोग लगा के नहीं खाते वो पाप खा रहे होते. तो उसके परपोर्ट में Prabhupada has explained that when we offer food and when we have that prasadam, it purifies our brain. And जब brain tissues purify होता है, then we are able to understand the shastras, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, कि actually what they are trying to say. But If we are in tamasic and rajasic, we won't be able to understand our shastras. And if we don't understand our shastras, then how we will perform bhakti? This is how I think that if we need to be in satoguna.
Okay. So, Mother, you have said very nicely. That is good, very good. Yes, other devotees can say why it is false. Anyone from Prabhuji's side, from Mataji's side, someone says true and what?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, can I?
Yes.
I can try. সাদর প্রণাম প্রভু। প্রভু, মানে অনেকে যারা আমরা ভক্ত যে কোনো স্টেজেই ভক্তি শুরু করতে পারি, সেটা কনিষ্ঠ স্টেজ হতে পারে, মানে যেটা কনিষ্ঠ ভক্তা, মধ্যমা, যেটা আমাদের কোমল কোমল ভক্তি থাকে, সেই স্টেজেও থেকে আমরা ভক্তি করতে করতে শতগুণে পৌঁছতে পারি, তাই না? এটা যদি আমরা কন্টিনিউ প্র্যাকটিসের মধ্যে থাকি, অনুশীলন করতে থাকি, তাহলে আমরা হয়তো একটা সময় শতগুণে পৌঁছবো। কারণ শতগুণে সবাই, কলিযুগে বিশেষ করে সবাই শতগুণে নয়, সবাইকে বেশিরভাগই আমরা মানে আমাদের মিশ্র ভক্তি থাকে, তাই না? আমরা কখনো সেটা মানে হ্যাঁ কিংবা না, মানে আমাদের বিশ্বাসটাও কোমল বিশ্বাস থাকে, তার উপর বেস করেই আমরা ভক্তি শুরু করি। তো সেই ক্ষেত্রে হয়তো আমরা এটা মানে এটা ফলসই হবার সম্ভাবনাটা বেশি আমার মধ্যে।
Okay. Nice, very nice. Anyone else on Prabhuji's side? Mataji's side থেকে দুজন বললেন। Prabhuji's, what do you think? Someone, Vishnu Prabhu, Shubhankar Prabhu, Jai Madhav
হরে
Prabhu.
কৃষ্ণ।
Yes.
হরে কৃষ্ণ প্রভু। তো আমি জানি যে সত্যগুণে থাকলে শুদ্ধ ভক্তি করা যায়, কিন্তু
হ্যাঁ?
প্রাথমিক সত্যগুণে থাকলে শুদ্ধ ভক্তি, মানে শুদ্ধ ভক্তি সত্যগুণেই হবে। কিন্তু আমরা জানি প্রাথমিক স্টেজে তো তমগুণে যদি ভক্তি আসে, তমগুণে যারা যারা আছে, প্রথমত আমরা তমগুণে ছিলাম বা রজগুণে ছিলাম, সেই সময় ভক্তি আরম্ভ করেছিলাম। তো আস্তে আস্তে সত্যগুণে শাস্ত্র এবং মানে অনুশীলন করার পরে, শাস্ত্র যে এগুলো বলছে সেগুলো অনুসরণ করার পর আমরা সত্যগুণে যাওয়ার চেষ্টা করছি। তো এটা ফলস কি ঠিক আমি ঠিক বুঝতে পারছি না, কনফিউশনেই আছি। তো আমি এক জায়গায় পড়ছিলাম, তো আমরা সত্যগুণে থাকলে আমরা শুদ্ধ ভক্তি অ্যাটেন্ড করতে পারবো, বা তারও উপরে যেতে হবে শুদ্ধ সত্য।
Okay. Anyone else? Vishnu Prabhu, আপনার কি মনে হয়? What is your thought behind false, or becoming it is false?
Prabhu, I think anyone can do bhakti, whether he is in tamasic stage or rajasic or sattvic, whether he has those gunas. So, irrespective of any guna, you can start your bhakti and you can do your bhakti. You don't need to be in a sattvic stage or sattvic guna.
Okay. Jai Madhav Prabhu, anything different you want to say till now, whatever has been discussed?
প্রভু ওই ভক্তি লেভেলে এলিভেট করার জন্য গ্র্যাজুয়ালি আস্তে আস্তে আমাদের এলিভেট করতে হবে। মানে যদি তামসিক মেন্টালিটি থাকে, তার থেকে রাজসিক, তারপরে আস্তে আস্তে গ্র্যাজুয়ালি এলিভেট করে আমরা আস্তে আস্তে শুদ্ধ ভক্তি স্তরে যাওয়াটাই মানে যেতে পারবো আর কি।
Yes. Actually, the point is, today the one topic, the entire topic of this chapter is bhakti is independent of anything. Bhakti is transcendental. It is chinmay. Okay. In last chapter, try to understand. We are discussing many references, but try to understand the essence. Last chapter, chapter previous to previous means this is chapter 5. Chapter 4 is just regarding mukti and bhakti comparison that we have discussed. Chapter 3, only qualification for bhakti is faith. Faith in scripture, faith in Srila Prabhupada. Think Shamsundar Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, Shamsundar Prabhu. You heard that first time? Shamsundar Prabhu has been instructed by Srila Prabhupada that you are a good sculptor, you make Lord Jagannath. You know that story, that first time you heard it, I have shared it or not? It is a famous first time actually. And he was with the carpentry work of Lord Jagannath, and one day Prabhupada has gone to see how far the carpentry has been progressed. Okay. So when he gone there, he saw, you know what he has seen? He has seen that Shamsundar Prabhu is doing carpentry and sometimes he's smoking, and after smoking he is keeping the cigarette on the head of Jagannath. And after seeing that, what Srila Prabhupada has said? Srila Prabhupada said, how many cigarettes you smoke every day? He said that 10 cigarettes. Well, you try to reduce 1 cigarette per month and continue carving Lord Jagannath. So this is the mercy. Prabhupada was having bhakti. He was giving bhakti. That's it. And he was having, Shamsundar Prabhu's faith is what? Faith in Prabhupada. That's it. He understood, the hippies understood, this person loves us. This person will not do any harm to us. This person genuine lover. That's it. They don't understand anything what Prabhupada was speaking. Prabhupada was speaking against Mayavad philosophy. Many of his disciples at that time was thinking that Prabhupada must have some problem with some person called Mayavad. He was thinking like that. They were thinking. One day they asked Prabhupada, why you always criticize Mayavadis? Have they done any harm to your life? They cannot understand it. So that was their ignorance. Prabhupada loves penetrate the layer of their ignorance. So the point is, bhakti is so glorious, particularly in any juga actually. Think of Mrigari. What qualification he was having? So we need to understand that bhakti is independent of any condition, anything. And in Bhagavatam, actually there is a chapter, I cannot, in some canto, I have read many years ago. There is a chapter where bhakti in Sattaguna, bhakti in Tamoguna, bhakti in Rajaguna is explained. Sattaguna, bhakti, Rajaguna. There is if you remember, when we discussed Bhagavad Gita, I have given 2 terms. One is Gunibhuta Bhakti and one is, what is that? Pradhanibhuta Bhakti. We have described this milk, that glass of milk, its explanation. One glass is milk with some mixture of water, and another is water with some mixture of milk. We have discussed this too. Remember this module 2? We have discussed this thing. This is same thing actually. So bhakti can be given in any situation. Pradhanibhuta Bhakti means the influence of mode of influence is there. That's why this Varnashram system is coming into the play. Varnashram means that is the Brahman. Why Krishna has told Chaturvida bhajate mam guno karma vibhavasam. Sorry, not Chaturvida, like Chaturvarnang maya srishta guna karma vibhavasam. Okay, so that means and in that purport, Prabhupada is explaining that Brahmana is in Sattaguna, Kshatriya in Sattva and Rajaguna, Vaishya in Tamo and Rajaguna, and Shudra in Tamaguna. But in Varnashram, the objective of Varnashram is Haritoshanam. Everyone can engage in serving Krishna. So we are also like this situation. So that's why don't be discouraged. Yes, Sattaguna is the best. Prabhupada says the example is that if we want to fly to air, we want to take, suppose we want to fly, then we have to go to airport. But going towards the airport is the Sattaguna. But someone is going towards the airport and the activities that he is doing, he is not has reached airport, but he is going towards the airport, and that going means he is rendering some devotional service, like Shamsundar Prabhu is carving Lord Jagannath. He has not in the airport, but he is going towards the airport, and from that he will get the Goloka plane to go to Shuddha Sattva. So that is the mercy that is there. But that does not mean that we will remain in that mode. Our objective is obviously that Rajastamo Bhav we have to overcome. Bhagavatam is there. Nashta Prayeshu Avatreshu Nittam Bhagavata Seva. Nashta Prayeshu Avatreshu Prayeshu Avatreshu means this Rajastamo Bhav will be gone away. We have to come to Sattva. Nittam Bhagavata by doing. But that does not mean that anyone who is in the Rajastamo Bhagavatam reading is rejected from. He is not qualified to read Bhagavatam. Anyone can read because by reading Bhagavatam we will be free from Rajasthan. So this is how we need to understand. I think I clarify this thing that you understood the point. In the last section, the faith should be there. Some kind of faith. Komala Shraddha is also what Pradya Mataji was telling. Komala Shraddha means not a very firm faith. That's how we started. Okay, we somehow at some point of time we thought that yes, these people are nice. Let me see what they are doing. Let me associate with them. Let me at least try to come into the program. That is how we started. And at that time, it is not that key when we started doing this, associating regularly in some classes, in some program. At that time, in our house, everything was stopped. Non-veg was stopped completely, or like whoever was having that kind of background, or we have stopped immediately taking tea, coffee, everything. It is not like that. But after association, 1 year, that's why when we know all the time how we are getting qualified for the initiation, isn't it? So that is the progressive path we have to take. Is that clear? Shivani Mataji, is it clear? Any other view you have?
Actually, Prabhu, the example which I gave actually it was from my side because I don't know how it happened, but I immediately gave up non-veg, immediately onion garlic, but
That
it
was the
was not
Sukriti. That was the Sukriti you are having. So that is the point. See, I from my very childhood I was reluctant. I'm from Bengali family. In my childhood, I was also very reluctant to take non-vegetarian thing. But that does not mean that I was having all other qualities. Food habit-wise, I was having that. Okay, and I was also ready to give up non-vegetarian. But that does not mean that I didn't have any other bad qualities. But I have to overcome. So we all have. If from your experience that is fine. That is means your progress will be fine. Some devotees may have that kind of background, but I am telling particularly typically the Bengali background family. If you know everything, as you were saying in Bengal. So we are all having that kind of situation. Okay, so we did not when I understood that we were incurring any sin by taking non-veg. We didn't have any conception of that. Okay, but when we came to Krishna consciousness, we understood, we hear that, then we started chanting. Actually, this chanting help us to naturally give up all these things. This chanting purifies us, and then we come to that stage. That is anartha nibritti. See, anartha nibritti level can be for many, for any individual can be at very different level. It can be some gross, it can be some subtle. So whatever it may be, something is there. So, but yes, true. It is true that airport is. We have to reach to that airport first. That is the preliminary qualification. So you read this chapter 2 and chapter 5. Chapter 3 and chapter 5 is very important. to give that clear understanding of what is bhakti, what is the qualification of bhakti, okay, and what is the protection from bhakti we can get. So that's why in this entire chapter, so many times, so many references Rupa Goswami is giving for fall down. Why fall down is there? Because we are not completely at, because in Sattva-guna, if someone is very steadily fixed up in Sattva-guna, there will not be any possibility of fall down. But we are mainly practicing Gunibhuta Bhakti. The Bhakti, it is influenced by Guna, and that is actually dragging us back, distracting us here and there. Otherwise, we should be steadily chanting, offenseless chanting. So the dragging force is actually the Rajostamo Guna is actually acting on us. Okay. So we understand. The point is at Sattva-guna, we understand. When you are progressing towards Sattva-guna, we are understanding that this is a distraction. So that's how we need to understand. So actually, this quiz also is given in I got this question from Bhanuswami Maharaj, and that initially I also given it through. I also given it is coming in the community. I also given it through, and then it is explained that Bhagavatam clearly declares that bhakti is independent of gunas. It is the same thing actually. Initially, the question is framed like that way, so I was also like that in your opinion. So then I understood that it is actually beyond this. So the point is, Prabhupada says in chapter 3 only that someone who has accepted, not realized that I am not this body, I am soul, he is qualified for discharging pure devotional service. Not realized, accepted. Who has understood at one level. So he can start practicing. Practicing means he will slowly, gradually read. And he has faith that this is nice. Komala Shraddha, little bit. Okay, they started one. So Shraddha means, Shraddhavan Bhakta means, you know what? Anyone can say, what is Shraddhavan Bhakta? Not in a very Shastric way, general term. A Shraddhavan Bhakta means at least ready to chant one round. Simple definition. At least ready to chant one round. Forget about everything. What we say initially in our normal DOS course or anything, Kuch mat chhoro, Krishna pe joro. That means no need to worry about what you are doing in your home. Forget about this. Come regularly and chant one round. That is our starting point. And that will take care slowly. 1 round to 2 round, 2 round to 4 round, 4 round to 8 round. That's how the journey starts. Bhakti starts. So thank you so much. I am taking a little bit more time to clarify these little subtle things. Otherwise, we may read many things. So other chapters we will go very fast. So Saturday and Sunday, I am requesting how many devotees are there. I don't know will be there, but please respond. If there is some devotees, I will conduct the class. Let's see. So Sunday got more vote than Saturday. So maybe Sunday will be there. At least one extra class will also help me to cover some gap. Okay, let's see. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Sadhu Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Sada Pranam.